Hello, I'm Ryan, and I'm here today with another episode of If You Don't Have It, You Can't Sell It with Craig Barnell from Fishers Finery. Hi, Craig.
Hey, Rye. It's good to be with you again.
Yeah, good to be with you too. So, today we're talking about the Supreme Court decision that came out last Friday. Today is February the 26th. And it was a pretty big shakeup in the e-commerce community as well as all importers as well that import from Asia and around the world. So right now, as you're trying to figure out the fallout of this decision, Craig, could you maybe summarize what that decision was and the next steps that Fisher's Finery is taking to address it?
Sure. Let me just grab a screen and bring it over here so I don't misspeak. So, as you were alluding to, on February 20th, the Supreme Court, on a 6-3 decision, ruled in the consolidated of cases that were brought against the current administration that the International Emergency Economic Power Act, which is IEEPA, was ruled as illegal, that the application that the administration had used to put those tariffs and duties into place was in fact not proper. So, right, that sent everyone into a tailspin.
Absolutely.
I will caution all of us to say, slow down. If you read the actual opinion and then read the dissenting opinion by Gorsuch, it's very clear that they provided a roadmap for the administration to do this. They just did it improperly. So already a 10 or 15% tariff, it depends where you look to see what the actual amount is, has already come back live under a different statute. So let's unpack what the decision actually meant for each one of us that import goods from overseas. Ryan, as we've discussed on these podcasts over time, we import products from China, Vietnam, and Pakistan as our 3 primary areas of importing products. So let's start with China. What we did, as soon as the decision came down and there was some clarity as to what it actually meant, we actually went into our database and we pulled up all of our documents that have to do with importing products. And as all of us are aware, you get what is called an entry summary. Little commercial for those who cheat on DDP terms and aren't the importer of record. They are not going to be able to get the money back. But our documents show that Fishers Finery LLC is the importer of record. On the entry summary, Ryan, as you and I reviewed just before this webinar, was the classification or the actual codes are displayed very clearly. So, for example, 9903.88.15, 9903.01.24, 9903.0125, these are all on one entry summary of products we brought in from China. Now, the first one I mentioned is legitimate. It's been around forever. The second two are CNHK, so China, Hong Kong, EO, Executive Order, 20% duty. That classification, that SHTS code, Harmonized Tariff Schedule code, was ruled as not appropriate. It's illegal the way that it was applied. So that's a 20% on this clearance, so $11,780. The next line, ending in 0125, also deemed as inappropriate, 5890, and so on and so forth. So we're going shipment by shipment, and there is a portal inside Department of Homeland Security, U.S. Customs and Border Protection that allows you to submit for refunds. We've made mistakes over the years of misclassifying, and a couple times we've underpaid, many times we've overpaid, and when we recognize it, we submit for a refund. So that's an important component of how to deal with this. Now, Ryan, if you think it's all right, I'll just go ahead and share our spreadsheet just to give viewers an
That'll be
idea.
very useful.
Okay, let me just do that. I'm going to share a window. Okay, Ryan, just let me know if you can see this.
Yep, we can see it.
So I've just got vendors down the side. I've got my PO number so I can track. And I started with most recent going backwards because there's a 180-day window in which there's one process and then older ones take a different process. So we started putting our entry summaries here. And then these are the classifications of HTS codes that we verified were deemed illegal, and then we're going entry summary by entry summary and consolidating the information. Right now, we're at 314,141 that we're going to be applying for a refund on, and we're not through the process. So, on a broad level, that's kind of what we're doing. We're going code by code, verifying that it is not appropriate and cannot be collected, or was not appropriate to be collected, and then we're isolating those and going to be requesting a refund. And just let me share one more screen here, so everyone knows what we're talking about when we say an entry summary. If you use a broker, sometimes you don't see this stuff as often. So I just want to make sure we all understand what we're talking about here. This is what an entry summary looks like. So Department of Homeland Security, products that are coming in, we're the importer of record. That's critical because there are rules about who can apply. So as the importer of record, we're able to apply for the refund. These are the duties that I mentioned. You can see the HTS codes here, right? And these are the ones we're able to claw back. So, just a quick overview of how we're handling it. I'm not saying it's the right way, but we need to organize it first, understand it, quantify it, and then develop a plan where we can track what we've submitted for. One thing we're not 100% sure of yet, but we'll be getting clarity hopefully by the end of the week, is that we use an agent, we use a customs broker. So we're not sure whether we're going to get the money back because truly we didn't pay it. The broker paid it and we paid the broker, but we have all the documentation we need. And so we're asking U.S. Customs for clarity on that. You can imagine they're overwhelmed with information. So we're still going to do the submissions and then we'll get answers to those questions as we go.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know you mentioned at the beginning of this, it doesn't sound like we're out of the woods yet when it comes to the administration's tariffs.
Yeah, the ability to use the other mechanisms and other statutes that you and I discussed before we started the podcast here have already been put into play. The administration is using tariffs and duties to force adversarial countries that have taken advantage of us to come to the table. Whether we agree or not, that's what they're doing. And in some cases, it's really worked out. But even as far as some of the duties and tariffs that everyone should be checking, like the products that we import from Pakistan, Pakistan reached a trade agreement with the U.S. And I don't have one to show on my screen, but I have all my hard copies here because I'm old. And the reciprocal tariff, RECIP PK19 duty 9903.02.51 was also overturned. So that's why it's important to take every one of your entry summaries and look country by country if you import from multiple countries. Even the negotiated tariff reciprocal trade agreements, some of those are no longer valid. That's why the administration had to quickly put that second layer in that has the 150-day approval. It was because all of these, like Pakistan had negotiated 19% reciprocal tariff, but that was overturned. So now that new tariff they've put in place, the administration is in place of that. So whether it's 10 or 15%, again, we're not 100% sure. We've got some stuff clearing in the next day or two. So when we update our viewers next week or the week after, Ryan, I'll have additional information. We're working with our customs clearing agent, who is Averitt International. Mostly they're known as LTL and FTL company, but they do an amazing job of being a freight forwarder and a customs broker. Little commercial for Averitt there.
I'm sure they'll appreciate it.
Yeah. The good news is you have an import coordinator, and so that we can talk to the same person that's clearing everything, and we've been in contact with them. So we're working our way through it. But to your point, there is a new a tariff or duty that was put on top right away. So there has been relief, but it has not been 100%.
Yeah, and for anyone out there who's looking for more information on that new tariff, it comes under Section 122 of the Trade Act of 1974, and it's currently set to 10%. Even though the 15% was announced, that hasn't gone into effect just yet, but we could project that there's going to be some turbulence and changes around that percentage as time goes on. I'm certain of. And again, like Craig, you had mentioned, we'll definitely be keeping up with this and keeping our viewers out there informed about these tariff changes as they happen. In addition to that, if anyone out there is having difficulty or confusion around this, we're still getting our hands around it. But again, we do offer managed services here at Inventory Optimizer to help you importing new products, and help you along with that process if you have questions. Again, please reach out to us, leave a comment below on the video, and we'll do our best to answer any of the questions that you have. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Ryan.